So I've had my Lone Peak camper for about a month now. This is a Lone Peak version 2. Just want to walk through how I've got it set up to this point and what I'm going to do in the future to make it work for me. I'm a filmmaker, and so I bought this to be able to work in my daily life, to be able to charge gear, store gear, travel to different locations and film things, but also to be able to just throw camping gear in the back quickly and just head off to the mountains and spend a weekend out there. That's where I'm at and what kind of use I put into this, and this is how I'm going to build it out. Thought I'd just kind of walk through some of the things that I've done on it and give you a little bit of a look at the V2 Lone Peak. The speed at which this thing sets up is pretty sweet. Basically, this bar pushes out so that you get a little bit more room here, and this locks in. These little pins lock in, and your cargo net just kind of stays there. And then, yeah, I did get a MaxxAir fan that is controlled here. Fan. And then you can go in or out. So I can suck air out. But yeah, definitely something I didn't think I was gonna do right off the bat, but I am glad I did it. I think it'll be nice in the summer heat. One of the major pluses of this is just the space you've got back here. You've got your bed here, and then if you push this up, watching out for that, you've got just all this space in here that you can stand. So I don't have all of this dialed in yet. Still figuring out what I'm going to do here on the left side. I do have my electrical on the right side here and a little cabinet with some drawers I'll show you here in a bit. All right, so we'll just go around from the outside here, showing the stuff that I did add on. I did add this gearbox onto it, which I'm really glad. I really like the idea of being able to have some storage right here that is accessible from the outside. These boxes are great. Quick access to stuff. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what to put in here. I've got some recovery gear up here, air up stuff, air down stuff, and then I think I have just some bug spray and whatever. But again, I've got to get out and kind of use it before I fully understand where I want to put stuff. Also opted for the fold out table. That is unfortunately not in stock, so there will be like a table that will fold out to right here. I do a lot of camping outside, so the ability to kind of have a place here to cook from is something that I was pretty intrigued by. I did also get the Ironman 4x4 DeltaWing 270 awning. Fits perfect on here. I ordered the awning brackets on the Lone Peak. I'll just set this up real quick, show you how easy it is. Connect your strap right here. Just pull it around. And tighten it up. And then your door's still open fine. Still can open all this stuff. I did put a little piece of, this pushes up a little bit. I put a piece of Velcro kind of just to pad that so it wouldn't scratch. But yeah, you've got the space out here. I did wire cabling for lights that are up underneath here. I'll probably show you those back in my driveway just when it's dark, because it doesn't make sense to show you right now. And then just to show you a couple things I purchased off Etsy, a company called Upper Left Adventures. They're based here in the Northwest. They make, he makes some sweet products for the Lone Peak. He has a Lone Peak. He built this little bracket here where you can connect your awning mount to, and then also rain gutters, essentially, so that when the rain falls off here, it falls in there and it runs to the roof and then runs off that way, as opposed to just pouring right down onto the door. So definitely check his stuff out. It's really cool that he just makes it. These are super simple to install. Comes with the bolts and whatnot to install them. And then to take this down, it's super easy. Just undo that latch, gives a little bit, unhook that, and then you're good to go. All right, so that's the left side. Latch is open pretty easy. There is definitely some play here. I've got to fix this. I feel like it's not quite opening correctly. Lone Peak does have some videos on their website, which I need to look at. The other issue that I had is that I got a chase light up here, so it's like an amber light that you can turn on, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working at the place. They replaced it there, and when I got home, it wasn't working. They sent me a new one for free, which is great, but I just need to figure out, I just have to pop this clear panel off here, and then I got to figure out the wiring for it. So I would love for them, if they're watching, to do a video on where that wiring goes. I know it comes into the juice box, but just knowing exactly where and which one to play with is the key there. So next I'll kind of talk about the juice box. All right, so skipping back to my house where it is dark and I can show you more of the electrical. On this, I chose to go with the juice box that they offer. And I chose to go for the 3-zone lighting, front and rear lighting, and as well as the lighting in the tent. That is the tailgate light. So it's the front and rear light, and you can change the color of that light and change the intensity. The juice box enabled me to also add in the lighting from the awning. So the awning, the 270 awning came with this, their lighting package, something like this. And I was able to wire it up here at the top and basically hide it. And it runs down into kind of a USB converter. And then I run it right into, I think, the light bar. I go in like that. Once I turn that on, use the controller up here. There we go. I can change the color and intensity right there. So my awning lights are now wired directly into the juice box, which is connected to my house battery. The other sweet thing about the juice box is that it comes with an app. And so this app, Lone Peak app, and you can basically turn on and off your lights. You can change the intensity of them and the color of them right here from your app. One final thing about electrical in general is I am very glad that I went with the juice box. There were times while I was building out my electrical system with the MPPT controller, you know, the battery connection, the DC to DC charger, just understanding all of that stuff and where it goes and what breakers I need and all that kind of stuff. Definitely there were some times where I was like, okay, might have been worth just spending the money to have them wire all this stuff up. But after doing it all and getting it completed, and I had plenty of videos to watch and plenty of friends to reach out to help me make sure everything was good, I'm glad I did it because I understand the ins and outs of it and I understand the system. And again, even the issue that I was talking about earlier with the chase light wiring, I don't know where they brought this in or where it goes. With all my stuff, I know where all the wiring is, where it goes, and how to fix it if there's an issue. With this stuff, I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I don't know. So definitely a learning process. Glad I went through it. It was in the midst of it, kind of pull my hair out kind of stuff, but in the end, I'm glad I did it. So for the flooring, I used 3/4 inch plywood with a coin plate PVC rubber garage mat that I put on top here. So it's just stuck down with double-sided carpet tape. This is the box I built, and I'll show you kind of a walkthrough of building that a little later, but just so you kind of see where we're at. What I did is I basically used a 80/20 aluminum to build this box, and it was pretty simple. I really like building with those, and I built a battery box here that's got my Renogy MPPT controller. I've got solar coming in over here, so I can turn the solar on and off when I'm driving. I've got my DC to DC charger coming in there. I can turn that off. And so basically this battery, which sits underneath here, is being charged by my starter battery on the truck. And again, I just used magnets here to like make that pop off so I can get access to that easily. And that battery's just sitting down here, strapped in. 2000 watt inverter connected here. I was gonna do my fridge right here, but I had to put this here. Originally that was gonna be up here, but it just couldn't, it wouldn't fit. And that just slides in there. It's magnetic. And then I got a couple drawers here. Slides out. Got some kitchen utensils and stuff like that. And then in this lower one, just put these little Velcros to keep them. Got some more stuff in there. So still trying to figure out where everything's gonna go. Really like this setup so that if I'm in here and the back is closed, I can make coffee or do whatever. I have access to this if I need it, but ultimately I don't really need access to this too often. Then I've got a nice little seating area. I can sit here and hang out. On this side of the rig, I did not do any windows. Obviously you can do windows here if you want. I didn't want windows. I do have a window on the back. It is super tinted, which I was a little concerned with because I wanted to make sure that, like, if I had camera gear in here, obviously not going to leave it out, but if I did have anything that, you know, I don't want people peeping in and looking at, that window is very tinted. You have to literally get up and put your face to it before you can see anything back here, which I was super stoked about. I did get the sliding window here, mostly because I want to be able to slide that window and throw, you know, if I want to carry 2x4s, longer stuff, I can still do that. Open both windows and throw some longer stuff in here if I'm just hauling. I did get the racks on top of the tent as well, so that if I want to, you know, put a ladder up there, do something up there, I can do that as well. I got the Molle panels on the door here. I got the Molle panel on the rear bulkhead here. That back side of the gearbox has Molle panels, so that's kind of nice. You can throw stuff up there. Also on this side, there's the diesel heater port, and basically what happens is when that's closed, you come in here and you can unlock it. Just this little screw here kind of unlocks it, and then pop that open and you can connect your diesel heater out here. I do have a diesel heater. I have not really messed with it. It's a cheap Chinese one. I kind of wanted to just try it out before I really fully invested in something, so we'll see how it goes. The nice thing is the electrical connects right out here, so when I'm running my diesel heater to here, it just plugs in right there, and then I just have to hit the heater button right there, and then that's going to give power to my heater. I'm trying this out, kind of these Step 22 Velcro Molle panel. I'm not sure this Velcro is going to stay. I think this is old Velcro. I just ordered some new stuff, but I kind of like this idea of being able to put stuff here. I'm keeping some, you know, charging cables in here so that I can charge right there. And then on this side of the rig is what I'm sort of figuring out right now. Just got some rando stuff in here, but yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to build something that's about the same width here, that'll keep my water in, and then ultimately just, I was just playing with kind of space of things and how much room I need. But these 80/20, they just connect right into this, this bed rail here, and I'll show you a little of that when I do this part of it, try to give you a little bit more. But basically it's just a super simple 80/20 framing. It's just easy to build, it's easy to like mess with, to try, and then you just throw the wood on top and you save a lot of space on not having to build an entire box of wood. Plus, if you ever want to take it out, you literally could just pop off these two things and your 80/20 is going right outside that with whatever you might have attached to it framing wise. Let me show you a couple things that upper left Adventures builds. This is like a cup holder that just slides into these T-slots. There's T-slots everywhere, so you can put whatever you want in any of these places here. And your phone can slide right in there, and then a cup holder and then just some other stuff can sit right there, and the bed essentially comes down and sits right here. And then you've got a couple charging ports here, and that's just when you hit your auxiliary, 12-volt auxiliary, that little blue light comes on, and then you've got a couple of ports right there that you can charge your phone easily. Again, super simple, super intuitive and easy to use. And then also he makes this little this kind of a cup holder for damp rid, so you can kind of keep the moisture out of here. I've just kind of been keeping this in here for the winter. I did get a little bit of moisture kind of coming in here. I tried to seal it up. One thing I would highly recommend before you get one of these things is to seal your bed caps. The one thing I didn't do a very good job of is I needed to take this bed cap off, and it just unscrews, I think, down here, and seal that up. I do think I get a little bit of water. It's nothing major, but a little bit of water in here. We are in the Northwest, so it's pretty rainy, and it's, you know, just a little bit of water. Not the end of the world, but definitely something that next summer I might address. Fold out table on the back side of this Gearbox, which is great. You know, in fact, I just might make some coffee right now. Again, I'm pretty excited about being able to just kind of figure out some of the things, how I use it, how I don't use it. That's the process of all my camping stuff. Jeep tent trailer to a Tacoma with a rooftop tent, all kinds of iterations. And as you try different ones, you figure out what you need and what you don't need. I definitely have simplified my process over the years, and that's been fun. I'm excited for this phase. I think the other thing that I was really drawn to on this rig was just the fact that, like, obviously when you're camping, you're sleeping a portion of that time, but most of the time you're not sleeping, you're hanging out. And so the ability to like open this up and just have it usable space when the weather's, you know, not great in the Northwest is gonna allow me to like get out and do some winter camping. I think that bag tour, that was great. Yeah, you know those camping videos where they make the really nice cup of coffee and it looks so easy? Yeah, that's not me. This is like a cargo net. When your bed folds down, the tent that when it comes down sits in this so that you can still see out the back of your window, which is great. But just for an example of like the space that's in here, I'm 5'7", and yeah, I've got tons of room in here. Just so you all know, I am actually not camping. I just came up here in the woods to like do this little video. So this is like a dry run. This is like spring training. I definitely will be getting out hopefully in the next few weeks for a shakedown trip with some buddies, and I can kind of really put it to the test and try some things out. Anybody else have a broken drone arm or leg, foot? Still works. He's a little gimpy. All right, well, I think that's everything that I wanted to share. I'm sure there's a couple things here or there that I didn't include, and I'll include those in a video later for sure. My goal this year is to try to do more videos to kind of follow this build process along. Hopefully you can take something from it, maybe learn something, maybe learn what to do, maybe learn what not to do. I'm a filmmaker by trade. I'm not a truck expert. I'm not a building expert. I know just enough to kind of get by, but my wife and I are in a new season of life. Both of our kids are in college, and so we're kind of newly empty nesters, and so while I've done a handful of camping videos, overlanding videos on my film YouTube site, I'm now going to create this new YouTube that's just dedicated to the hobby of kind of being outdoors, of some filmmaking stuff, hopefully share some of my expertise in filmmaking. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have questions, leave them below, and see you in the next one.